Welcome back to this Ingram Angle special, the Trump agenda in 2018. Democrats still think the ongoing Russia investigation could be their ace in the hole against the president next year, but it could boomerang on them. A Wall Street Journal poll today released shows the public is souring on Mueller. While his positive rating is inched up from 24 to 28% since June, his negative numbers jumped from 11 to 21% in the same period. And no wonder, with all the bitter anti-Trump bias revealed among Mueller's top investigators and key players at the FBI and Justice Department. But some Democrats are stuck in utter denial.
So when Special Counsel Mueller was appointed, Republicans praised him, Republicans like Newt Gingrich and others. Now they're attacking him, and the only thing that's changed is 2 guilty pleas plus 2 additional indictments. So they're afraid, I think, of facts and evidence that Mueller is uncovering, and that is not a good justification to try to smear his team.
So evidence of blatant anti-Trump bias by investigators isn't justification for questioning the probe? You kidding me? Let's examine that with political analyst and former Secret Service agent Dan Bongino in Palm City, Florida. And in Washington, former Ohio State Senate Minority Leader Capri Cafaro. All right, Dan, this is just Republicans working the refs. You know, when a coach yells at the officials and then the next time they maybe get a better call. I don't think there's anything wrong with criticizing if the Mueller investigation is doing something wrong. Do you?
No, and Jesse, why shouldn't we criticize it? Let's walk through what happened here, okay? You had a man at the top in Jim Comey who admitted to starting or initiating, trying to start this special counsel by leaking information to the press. You had a number 2 in Andy McCabe, whose wife was running as a state senator as a Democrat in the state of Virginia and taking money from Clinton acolytes. You had a number 2 in charge of the investigation, Peter Strzok, talking with his mistress about an insurance policy in case Donald Trump is elected. And wait, let me get this straight. We're not supposed to ask questions about any of that. That's only in the liberal, bizarre fantasy land they live in. In the real world, you're darn right we're going to ask questions, and we're right to do so.
All right, yeah, so Capri, the congressman that you heard at the top is saying, you know, in the beginning the Republicans liked Mueller, but now they've changed their tune. I think Republicans have changed their tune because of what Dan said. I mean, they're hiring a bunch of Clinton donors and former Clinton lawyers. They're having to fire guys from trying to subvert Trump and talk trash about Trump. It makes sense why his numbers are going down. It's his fault.
Well, I mean, I think you're conflating 2 separate issues, Jesse. One is, you know, are Republicans in Congress rather souring on Bob Mueller, or is the American public souring on him? And I know at the top of the segment, you mentioned that Wall Street Journal poll.
Right.
You know, basically what that looks like to me is that people just don't even know who Bob Mueller is. You know, because if you have 21% of the people saying that they have an unfavorable and 28% saying they have a favorable, that means that less than 50% of America has any idea who Bob Mueller is.
And you know what? I would agree with that, because if I went out on the street and I asked the first 10 people I saw who Mueller was, I bet it maybe 3, maybe 4, probably 3 would know. But, Dan, doesn't that just say that the public really doesn't care that much about the Russia story? It has nothing to do with jobs, wages, or national security.
Yeah, I'm personally glad that Looney Tunes Democrats, like the ones in Congress, are wasting all their time on this conspiracy theory, Trump-Russian collusion nonsense, because while that happened, we've been dumping red tape. We've been appointing absolutely great, stellar conservative justices. We've been cutting taxes. So listen, Ted Lieu, Adam Schiff, knock yourselves out. Have a field day with your dopey special counsel. What's that?
Both from California, correct?
Yeah, I mean,
California.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, the people out there in California really dislike the Republican Party. But let me get back to you, Capri. It seems like Mueller's basically the Democrat candidate for president. It's the only person that could stop Donald Trump's reelection, and the Democrats are putting all their eggs in the Mueller basket. And if he clears everybody else after this, they have nothing.
Look, I think that there's a camp of Democrats out there that, hope for the worst, that think that, okay, if President Trump fires Bob Mueller, which he said he's not going to do, but if he does it, then that opens the door for obstruction of justice, and therefore they can go after impeachment and go down that rabbit hole.
I think the Democrats want President Trump to fire Mueller because that's all they talk about.
There's a camp out there that thinks that. There is another camp, and I belong, frankly, to the other camp, that believes the best path for Democrats is to show that they are adults in the room, to show that they can govern, that they are putting people first. I'm from Ohio. We care about jobs. Certainly we want to make sure that the Russia investigation is done, and the American public deserve answers in a fair manner about that issue, about what happened in the 2016 election. Ultimately, the Democrats, the way that we win is when we turn people out, actually, as we have done in some of the more recent elections in 2017. But we need to have a message to show what we offer to the American public.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what the Democrat message is on the border, on ISIS. I mean, I do know they think Trump's a traitor. That's about it. Go ahead,
well,
Dan.
come to Ohio, and I think that there'll be some folks that have.
No, I'm just talking about congressional Democrats. But go ahead, Dan.
Yeah. No, Jesse, the Democrats' message 2018, I love what they're going to run on. Give us more of your money, give us back your health care, and let us send your kid to a crap school that's failing. I mean, that's going to be their message. Oh, and by the way, we're going to continue to investigate a Trump-Russia investigation, which, by the way, has produced zero. That's a donut. The absence of value has produced no evidence of Russian collusion at all.
Very interesting,
Capri. In the midterms.
So this started off as a collusion investigation or an obstruction investigation. I mean, when we just looked at the segment before, there's more evidence of Democrat collusion or Democrat obstruction than there is anything that Donald Trump or his campaign has done, right?
I don't know who you're asking that question to, but I think that, again, the American public deserves answers regardless of party, whether it's Democrat or Republican.
I agree with that.
So, if there's smoke and fire, we need to have an impartial investigation regardless of the party.
There's no smoke.
All right. Well, listen, I think we'll just wait to see how this thing plays out. Could take months, could take years, but, I think we'll finally get to the truth, hopefully. Guys, I got to run.
Let's hope.
2018 is set to become a make or break.